Hi, my love, and welcome to Yes to Life podcast, a podcast about soulful living and sacred feminine embodiment. It is a podcast about following our dreams, open up to our full potential, and saying yes to life. It is also a podcast about remembering the sacredness of the female body and the feminine essence. My name is Helena. I'm a mother of 6 beautiful children and a sacred, sensual and feminine embodiment guide. I help women in all stages of their lives to love, adore and understand their female bodies, to celebrate their feminine essence and to awakening their inner goddess. I'm the founder of Blissful Feminine Flow and the creatrix of programs like Yoni Flowering, Womb Bliss, Sacred Bleeding, Blissful Mama, Pleasure Queen, and Sacred Feminine Body Love. I have always been very open and sensitive and have a feeling that more is possible. Beside my deep love and curiosity for the female body and the feminine essence, which I got mostly from my own pregnancy, birth and motherhood, I am also very fascinated about people who have dared to walk their own path and follow their dreams and are showing us that more is possible. I can see the power of us coming together and have these deep conversations about the things that we care about. I can also see the gift of listening to these deep conversations. That's why I started this podcast. If this touches something deep within you, please stay tuned and let's get started with today's episode.
Yes, welcome everybody to another episode of Yes to Life podcast. And today I'm here with my beautiful and wonderful guest, Dr. Kimberly Rose Pendleton, an absolutely amazing woman who have been such a lighthouse in my world lately. And I'm going to share a little bit of that later in this episode. And I'm so happy to have her here and so grateful to introduce her to you all who are listening. Welcome, Kimberly.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, it's such a privilege, and you have such a great span of things you are doing and sharing in the world. So, would you like, with your own words, describe a little bit for the listeners who you are and what you do?
Oh, I'd love to. So, I'm an intimacy and pleasure coach, and my business, Uncover, has been just one of the greatest loves of my life, creating this work. A lot of it came from my own journey first of shedding shame and guilt and religious repression, some of that had conditioned me to feel like pleasure was bad and who am I to have, an amazing life. But I found that after I did that for myself, I really wanted to help other women do it too. And now it's a 7-figure business and we've got clients all over the world. And it's just this feeling of like, wow, women are learning just how powerful we are. And that's really what it's all about.
Yes, and you are such a beautiful inspiration. And I first come over your content when you were pregnant with your beautiful daughter. And
Wow.
and I saw it, it was so much aliveness in you, and you were sharing something about flirting. And you were
Yes.
saying, I like to do this when I'm pregnant. And I felt
Yes.
openness and you're I have never felt anything about some judgment. You're so open and
Yeah.
so free, and I love that so much about you. And then you have been in my feed, and I have seen your beautiful things and been nourished by all the things that you have been sharing. And a couple
Mm.
of months ago, I was in a some sort of test, I think, because it came up so many of my inspirations that was sharing about going from New Age to Christianity, and
Yeah.
this um, that they had been a little bit lost in how they had come home to Jesus. And
Okay. Yeah.
you, you got it.
Yes.
Something was resonating inside of me too, because I could feel that too, that we can
Yeah.
get lost in these things. And I have been going through this journey for several years now to come home to my body, to open up to pleasure and to overcome self-hate and to start to love myself and open up to this orgasmic bliss state
Uh,
to
yeah.
and to live from the feminine. And
Mm.
my whole body started to contract and
Yeah.
like I frozen. My
Mm.
whole just I couldn't speak, I couldn't share what I
Yeah.
know that I'm here. And then you came like an angel there
Oh,
and you shared your view on it. And that
yeah.
something inside of me just, yes, that's what it is. That this is just a conditioning that I'm buying into. I don't think these women that were sharing this was doing it to judge me. I hope they
Right.
don't.
Right.
They didn't say something directly
Yeah.
to me, but I felt
Yeah.
it, energy. You know what I'm talking about. And it
Definitely.
was
Yes.
so important to have you there because I haven't even thought of it. And just by hearing them saying it and then seeing you keep moving and sharing
Yeah.
what you were here to share was such a gift for me.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Thank you for saying that. I really, really resonate with what you're saying. And that invitation to a connection to the divine and a connection to even to Christ and the consciousness of like love is this beautiful thing. And then, so many of us, me included, have experienced it coming through the filter of judgment and belonging, being like withheld and shame and it gets so heavy. And so I think you're really inviting us to ask maybe the most important question we can ever ask, which is how do we come back to the love and how do we leave behind the shame? And that shame is really going to make us, in my experience at least, feel farther away from God, farther away from each other, farther away from ourselves versus coming into love and feeling like, oh, like
Yeah.
everything's okay.
Mm. Yes, absolutely. And I have felt before that coming home to the body and coming home to the deep feminine inside of
Yeah,
me, it also opened me up to God and to
yeah,
my man and to love and all that you can say. And
yeah,
even if I had that so strongly embodied in me, this came like an other layer to
yeah.
um, uncover. And
Yes, totally.
yes, so but you were such a lighthouse and such an inspiration that I could keep looking at you and keep holding on to, or just have something that
Yeah,
was holding my hand through it.
yeah. Yeah, like there's another way.
Yes, exactly. And
Yeah,
yes, it was so important. Even if
yeah,
I thought that I was studying what I was teaching and the feminine
yeah.
embodiment. So yes, sometimes we have to go through another layer, as I said.
Right, right. Yeah, there's just that feeling too, I think you're speaking of, and I have so felt it too, where you just feel so much better to realize you're not alone. It's like, oh, someone else has also been on this path. Now it feels like I can breathe a little easier. I can do this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I felt when I saw you, I felt that the only way to get out of this is to keep shining and to keep doing this
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
shrinking and being in that chains, that was not way. And then I created a course or a mini course for my uh, goddesses in my group that was called Let Her Shine.
Oh,
And
I
in the
love
same
that.
in the same days, you were um, showing up with your in the spotlight.
Oh my gosh.
So it was
Parallel.
uh,
Yes.
yes,
Yeah.
and I went into that group and was in that beautiful container and energy of all these women that was also stepping into the spotlight, and it's so beautiful to do this together and to yes lifting each other up.
It's huge. You're so right. Yeah. Oh my gosh. I just love this so much.
Yeah. And it's so beautiful when you can see that because you're also talking about pleasure, using pleasure as a way of healing trauma.
Right. Right.
Yeah. And I have been talking about this, but I have felt that nobody else is talking about it like this. Can I do
Ah.
it? And seeing you doing it, I find some more power in the voice and started
Mhm.
to trust that it is okay to talking about it like that.
I love that. Yeah, there's something about pleasure, and even just in its most basic form, what feels good, what tastes good, just like our senses coming back. I notice for me and for my clients, it's like it undoes some of the lie that trauma tells us. If trauma trains me to leave my body and to say, like, you can't trust it, get out, freeze. It's like pleasure feels like it thaws that and brings us back in. And I think it's the next frontier in this work because it's so much bigger than just what we don't want. It's like, here's what we do want, here's what we crave, here's what we are looking for.
Yes. So what do you say you can see that pleasure is doing with women? Because it is
Yeah,
like,
yeah. I think it's awakening us
yes,
and helping us come home to ourselves. When I think about the difference between a woman in her pleasure and a woman who's been trained to put that all aside, put it last, don't focus on it. I just think about how much more alive we are when we're immersed in pleasure, how much more awake and abundant and just kind of available for life. And it's like that is the true version of us.
yes. And I think what is special with you, what I feel is also that is Is this deep sense of pleasure, as you said, for the senses. It's not just because we think about pleasure at just sex. We don't even,
Right. Great.
it doesn't even maybe includes pleasure. They
Yeah.
they make it, but just it feels like when you were talking about pleasure that it's really the relaxed pleasure because we can force
Yes.
ourselves into it also, but this relaxed pleasure opens up something totally different.
Thank you for bringing that up. That's so right. I think in a way, pleasure is both taboo, but also only associated with sex. And so I love that you're coming back into the truth of really it's about all of us knowing what brings us joy, softness, what feels good. And it's stuff that you would think would be easy to answer. But so many women in particular are trained to not know what brings us pleasure. So if you ask, or we even ask ourselves, like, what do I want? What would feel good? It's like, it's hard to answer.
Yes. Yes. And I think you were talking about that too in I was listening to you in some video and it was talking about how pleasure is dangerous. And I have felt that
Mm,
over and over again in my own life and also with my clients,
right.
how it's a deep scarcity around it. And for me, when I
Yeah.
just started to touch my skin because I was so hard on myself, it was
Yeah.
really scary. I was crying and
Yeah.
shaking, just taking one step at a time and just open up more and more. It's like a
Yeah.
pleasure. Yes,
I think
treasure.
so. Pleasure. Yes. Yeah. And I feel like
Mm,
even thinking of pleasure as like medicine has been so helpful for me because it's like, oh, yeah, this is like doing something important.
yeah. And I think we need other women to remind us of that, that it is
Yeah.
medicine. It's important because we can
Yeah.
feel about it. I think that is so deeply embedded in us. So even when we are um, doing this and have come a long way in this practice,
Yeah.
sometimes, or when we're even deeper, it's uh,
Yeah.
another thing to let go of.
Right. 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 Yeah. Thank you for that reflection.
Yeah.
Mm.
And I also see it because I worked very much with women who are giving birth. And there we also like I train them or help them to use pleasure as this way of riding the waves when you are
Yeah.
giving birth. And it can be orgasmic and blissful and joyful, just changing the way we are looking at it. And I think it's the same with business and with motherhood. And yes,
Mm, I love that. Yeah, there's something about seeing even like contraction. Birth is just such a metaphor for everything. Seeing contraction and pressure as just like, okay, I'm like really doing something. There's like high sensation, something is coming, something big is being born. And then it doesn't feel so scary. It just feels like, yes, this is part of it. This is how, she comes into the world.
yes, absolutely. I think so too. It's so, as you said, it's such a metaphor. It's because it's, I think when I went through this last month of looking at how deeply I trust God for me,
Yeah.
God,
Yeah.
and my relationship to the divine and to Christ and to everything that I have been built up inside of me and my
Yeah.
need as a feminine being and in my female body, and how I went through this contraction to just clearing that up and be more crystal clear, and also um, into the spotlight to
Yeah.
look at what is it that I want to share, and even if it some blockages in my throat, just saying yes to it inside of me, and then allowing it to start to find its way out
Yeah.
like a bird.
Yes. Yes. I think similarly, whether it's our business or our relationship or our children, it's like there are these creations that only we can birth, and they chose us, it feels like.
Yes, absolutely. I think you had a program in that was called La Serena, Sirena, sorry,
Yes. Oh, it's my favorite one. Yeah.
that resonated so deeply with me, and just that oracle inside of us that has
Yeah.
been trust her.
Yeah. Yeah. It's huge.
Yes. Is that how you see her, but in that course, or do you want to say something?
Yeah.
Or
I think it is, I feel like there is just this uh, potency, this inner goddess in us who's invited to come out.
yeah, and also that we can be afraid of her too, like we can be
Yeah,
afraid of pressure, because I know that you share also about how we have been killed and
yeah,
outcasted for saying yes to this inner oracle and to our inner goddess and the wisdom that we have. So it's not
yeah,
so, yes, it can awaken that fear inside
yeah,
of us.
yes, it really can. Yeah. I love that you said that because it also feels like that really validates when women have fear. Sometimes we can doubt ourselves, like, where is this even coming from? Why can't I just launch the business, write the book, fall in love? Like, what's holding me back? But then when we think about it more deeply and see, like, oh, like, course there's fear. How could there not be? There's all
Yeah.
this history and all this trauma and even the lineage and so many reasons. But now we get to break the curse.
Yes. Yes. And also what I think is special with you is that you are talking about much about Mary Magdalene,
Yeah.
and that also, for me at least, feels that we are not alone, because in this journey to rediscover our feminine essence and the coming home to the divine feminine, sometimes we're trying to do this journey in a masculine way, that we are
Yeah.
forcing, and we are going to make this by ourselves and
Right.
alone. And we are just taking the same way of doing things, but trying to
Yeah.
do search for the feminine, and then this
Right.
doesn't work.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
so just have
Almost
that.
like I'm going to put my pleasure practice
Yeah,
in a spreadsheet. And it's like, like it doesn't quite work.
exactly. And the Magdalene journey, or this just being held by her,
Hmm.
are also helping us.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
What is your
huge.
experience with her? Is it, I can just
Mm.
feel her through you.
Yeah. Oh, thank you for saying that. It's amazing to think about just the role that women who've come before us play in paving this path. I feel like one of the things that tapping in to the energy of Mary Magdalene has offered is this insight into what it could look like to be a spiritual leader and a wealthy woman and a pleasure and sensuality like priestess all at once. And I feel like that triad, we're not allowed to be even two of those three things, like spiritual, wealthy, pleasure. It's like, oh, in our culture, especially here in America, it's like if you're wealthy, that's so far away from spirituality. And if you're in your pleasure and you're in your goddess zone, you shouldn't be making any money. And if you're like a religious person or you're so devoted and spiritual, you shouldn't care about pleasure or money. It's like,
Like,
I feel like, there are just so many constraints. And then there's this figure from the tradition that I had felt the most restricted by as a woman. She's like quietly rising, cut
yeah.
from the story, like maligned, misunderstood. Her gospel is like cut from the canon, and yet, like thousands of years, 2,000 years later, we feel her. And I'm not even the only person I know doing Mary Magdalene work. And I'm like, yes, the more the better. Like, let's bring, you know, all hands on deck.
Mm, yes. And also when you describe her and when you describe, it's just that feminine, you said the word quiet when
Mm,
you're talking. And just sometimes it is to use our voice, but the feminine can also
yeah,
be powerful, just moving soft and slow and just, I think you have said it before, find her way,
yeah,
even if they try to suppress her. And we don't
absolutely.
have to use this angry force even,
Yeah,
but we can keep be connected to the truth.
yes. Mm,
And it also can be scary to speak the truth and
totally, totally.
yeah,
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. Yeah. But can you feel that you were talking about the wealth and can you see that pleasure and money and wealth is this things that we are most afraid of and this
Yeah.
yeah.
It honestly has felt scarier to me to talk about money than about sex.
Yes.
It feels more taboo and more off limits.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think so too.
Yeah,
Because that,
there's something. Yeah, go ahead.
no, I just want to say, I think that there's so much judgment about it. And yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, there's so much judgment. It's crazy. So, I think we have this invitation to rewrite the story, and to think about being the wealthy woman, but who is of service. And the
mm,
more she has pleasure and the more she has resources and the more she has wealth, the better off the world is. So,
Yes.
one of the things about Mary Magdalene that's so interesting is that the only detail I have found in my research that everyone agrees on, like religious people and scholars and historians and everybody, is that she was wealthy. Because there are these lines in the Bible that say that she actually was one of the women who paid for Jesus and the disciples to have what they needed so they could do their ministry. It says she funded him. And it's like, oh my gosh. Okay, so here is this woman who years later the Catholic Church is going to say is a prostitute, which is not true. Actually, she was this wealthy woman who was so moved by the work that she paid for it. She was like an early investor. And even more so, my favorite story is about this moment where she's pouring out anointing oil to honor Jesus. And she gets criticized from the men who say, like, that oil is so expensive. Historians are like, it was nard from the Himalayas, which would have been like a year's worth of wages at the time. And she's like pouring it out for him. And they're like, you're wasting that. You should have sold that and used the money to help the poor. And Jesus is like, no, this honored me. And
Yes.
that story really, really did something for me when I revisited it later, because it showed me that not only did she take her wealth and use it to pay for what they needed, providing, but she still had this pleasurable like taste. She
Yes.
still had the expensive perfume. And like, really, that felt like this meditation on luxury and
Mm,
on kind of pleasure as something that can bring us into the presence of the sacred. I
yes.
know a lot of women who feel kind of guilty about wanting things to be
Mm,
nice or wanting things to be beautiful or wanting fancy stuff or wanting to come to Paris. And it's like, this story feels like it's that little permission slip. Like, pleasure is a beautiful portal into the moment, into what's sacred. And I love that she's then this figure that gets to be both. Like, pay for the people to eat, pay for the expensive perfume, have it all.
exactly. Oh, that
Yeah,
was, yeah, what a beautiful story. And I also think that because when we are disconnected from our source inside of us, I mean, the feminine source in our journeys and in our wombs and in our sensuality and sexuality, we feel empty and we still maybe trying to give from an empty cup.
yeah,
And oh, even if this was wealth outside, but I also think that we can feel that sense of overflow and abundance
yeah,
coming from our wombs and inside of
yeah,
us.
mm,
When we soften our female body, we feel that it's
yeah,
overflow of bliss and
mm,
generosity and also
yeah,
fertility.
yeah,
And she also had it outside because
yeah,
it's like she was one with life like that.
yeah, totally.
Yeah. And also that you said that luxury is, I think it's nourishment for the feminine also. And
Yeah,
even when we are looking at the hormones, we know that pleasure and beauty nourish us and balancing
yeah,
us, giving us vitality.
Yeah.
So I love
Mm.
that you say we can rewrite the story and reconnect to it, because I think we have had memories of fear of it,
Yeah, it's true.
and then just reminding us that the way is wealth and pleasure and power.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
That's so good.
But how do you think? I think I was telling you before this about my daughters, and I know that your little beautiful daughter also is
Mm.
a huge part of your life or your mission in the world.
Yeah, it's so true. I think about her and the way that I hope she feels in her body and in her life. And I
Mm.
even wonder, could it be possible that she would never need my work? That it could just be like, what are you talking about? Of
Yeah.
course, I get to have pleasure. Of course, I get to have beauty. I don't
Mm.
have anything to heal from. That would be my hope.
Yes. Yes.
Mm,
That would be lovely. For I think that we can change this in this generation,
I
because
do
we are
too.
bringing them over and open
Yeah,
up the doors for them. So
yeah,
it's beautiful to think that way.
yes.
Yes, and have them to also to know that, as you said, it's okay. Nothing to they doesn't even have to think about it.
Yeah.
I also want to talk about your trips to Paris. You are taking beautiful women there and bathing in pleasure and
Mm.
luxury, I guess.
It's so true. It's kind of like the illustration of everything we've been talking about, It's like, okay, come immerse in it.
Yes.
But I found that something happens when we're in pleasure, like surrounded by it. And Paris to me feels very like the pleasure portal. But that sense of like, ah, if everything around you is beautiful, if the food is delicious, if someone else has taken care of the plan and all the details, then our nervous system can relax in this way that's really so sacred.
Yes. Is it a group or is it just one woman?
Yes, so when I do retreats, and I can't help but do them a few times a year because they're all so special. So there's one in December that's more holiday, magic, lights, and that's coming up. And then in the fall too, like September, it's just like the most beautiful time. So both of those, they're just standalone retreats. And then I have a longer Mary Magdalene program that involves a Paris retreat. And we go down to the south of France where her cave is and
Mm.
where she lived once she was exiled. She
Yeah.
goes to France, and that's how that whole region became this portal for the divine feminine. And it's really just so amazing.
Yes. Just by you talking about it, I can feel that the breath is taking another rhythm.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's
Mm.
I can understand that it is a sacred portal to this.
Yeah.
way of viewing the world
Yeah,
just by being there.
totally.
I love it
Mm.
so much. Yeah. And also for, I know that you have several courses on your website. I have
Mhm.
taken all your free courses so far.
Yeah.
Cool. And I know that you can also work with you one-on-one.
Mhm.
Yeah. Is it for
Yes.
3 months?
Yeah, 3 months or a year, or forever.
Yeah.
Just come stay. Yeah, I love working with people one on one too.
Mm.
It's so beautiful. And I have a like coaching group. So if one on one doesn't quite feel right, it's like a little bit more intense. There's the Uncovered Woman experience, and you get every course and calls with me every month, and it's the group kind of sisterhood feeling.
Yes.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I can understand that you said or forever.
Or
If
forever, just
you
stay.
step into your space, you want to be there. Yeah.
Hmm.
And it's beautiful because I think we need each other so
Yeah.
deeply. We're meant for that. Um,
Yeah.
and also that is something that I feel so clearly about you, that it's that openness and no, yes, you're so genuine and authentic, and it's beautiful to see because
Mm.
even if we have much wisdom, it's not always this sense of openness and
Right. Right. I know what you mean. You're right.
yeah,
Yeah.
and you don't have to be afraid to be judged. And
Yeah.
that's not always the case. So
Yeah.
yes, is it something more that you want to share with the
Hmm.
listeners? What is
Like we went to all the important places thanks to you and your just beautiful energy and guidance. I'm so grateful to have had this conversation.
yes, and for me it's such a privilege, and I feel honored that you took your time to be here. And
Yes, my pleasure.
yes, I'm looking forward to just see what this can create for the world too.
Yeah.
And it felt like we were just, as you said, went a little bit in several
Yeah.
space. We could
Yeah.
talk hours in every
It's
area.
so true. It's
Yeah.
so, so true. Yeah.
But I'm so grateful to share your voice for the listeners and also to have this conversation. And I think that there's always something that we feel that we mm, resonate with. And
Yeah.
I think that, what did you call it? La Sirena? What did it
Bless
call?
her, Anna.
La Sirena.
Yes.
Yes.
Anna.
And when you were putting out that pictures for it, it felt
Mm.
so deeply inside of me. And in the same time, I was also about talking about the cervix and our inner oracle, and
Yeah.
so working with the energy of the mermaids. And let me
Yes.
hear that, because in the same time, I was also listening to this um, Christian speeches. They were talking about the mermaids were dangerous, and it also shut down that connection. And then when I saw
Yeah.
you, opened up again.
That's so funny. Yes.
It's so funny, and it was so beautiful
Perfect
because
timing.
yes, and it was okay. Yes, that's not just me.
Yes. Oh my
And
gosh. Wow, what a powerful moment.
And also how it, because that's a really powerful connection for me, because
Yeah,
for me it stands for freedom, and also the deeply connection to our body and the sensuality,
yeah,
and no
yeah,
judgment. Um,
yeah.
and that was also what you were radiating out for me with that.
Mhm.
Um,
Thank you for saying that.
yes. So freedom,
Yeah,
openness, beautiful.
yeah,
And I think that they are the listeners on sitting there and want to go and look out your pages. So where do they
yeah.
go first?
Thank you so much. Yes, I think maybe Instagram first, Dr. Kimberly Rose Pendleton. I try to put all my resources there. And I have a free course on Mary Magdalene, harlots and heretics that I'd love to share with everybody.
Yes, I will put the links in the notes so they can easily find it.
Yeah.
Yes. But is it
Mm.
something more, or are we clear with this conversation?
It feels so good. I think we got there everywhere we were meant to go.
Yes, I think so too. But thank you
Mm.
once again, Kimberly, for taking the time.
My pleasure.
Yes. And thank you for the listeners.
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you for listening. If this was touching you, please feel free to share. And to find out more, check out the links below.